Let's talk about a fun little application of systems of equations. I'm going to take us through this one. There's kind of a lot going on, so let me read it and we'll wrap our minds around it and then we'll dive in. So we've got two lines that are graphed in just your normal XY plane and they're intersecting at an unknown point. The first line, they tell us the slope and then one of the points that it passes through, and the second line passes through two different points. So we don't know that slope yet. We want to know what is the value of AB. So what I'm going to do is write the equation of each line. They give me the slope and a point for the first one, and then the second one they give me 2 points. Both of those are enough information to write an equation. So I'm going to write the equation of each line, and then I'm going to solve the systems of equations to see where do those two lines intersect. Once I find that point where they intersect, I'll know A, I'll know B, and I can find the product. So my first line, I'll just call it line number 1. So line number 1 has a slope of -1/2 and passes through the point -2, 2. So I could use point slope form, or I could write my slope intercept form by plugging in the slope and then working to find my y-intercept. If I did that, I know that my slope is -1/2, and I could plug in my point, which is that -2, 2, for my x and my y values. So I would put 2 in for y and a -2 in for x. And then I just solve for b. So plugging that b value back in, I have the equation y is -1/2 x plus 1. So that is the equation for my first line. Now I'm going to go and do the same thing for my second line, but before I get too far, I don't know my slope. So I'm going to use the 2 points to find my slope first, and then I'll be able to repeat the process I just did. So first off, my slope I find by subtracting the y's and subtracting the x's. I'll go from the second point to the first point, so 3 minus my other y value, and then 1 minus my other x value. These become plus, 2 negatives make positive, so 4/2, which is 2. Now that I've got my slope, I'll plug that into slope-intercept form and solve for b. So I'll pick one of my 2 points, whichever one is my favorite. I like the one that has 2 positive values, so 1, 3. I'll plug in the 1 for x and the 3 for y and solve for b. Plug that back in here, and my y is 2x plus 1. Well, notice that these both have the same y-intercept. So that's really all I need to know that that's where they're going to intersect. But if you're not totally confident, then we can go ahead and solve. That's no problem. I know that y equals -1/2 x plus 1, and it also equals 2x plus 1. So to solve the system of equations, I can use substitution and take this y value and replace it for my y value in the other equation. So -1/2 x plus 1, that's my y, equals 2x plus 1. And then I just solve. Now that we've got the x value, we need to plug that in and find the y value. We can plug it into either equation, doesn't matter. I'll go back up to the second equation that I had and plug in that 0. So this shouldn't be a surprise. We know that y is 1 because we already said they have the same y-intercept. So the point where they have to intersect has to be that y-intercept is 0, 1. Now this isn't quite what they were asking us. They were asking us, if we go back up to the top, what is the value of a times b? So a comma b, that's the coordinate where our lines cross, but we want to know what is the product of the x and the y coordinate. So then from here, I need to find the product. If a is 0 and b is 1, then a times b would be 0 times 1, which is 0. And there we have it. Hope you had some fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.